Hi guys, here's 7.1. Talking about ratios in this section and proportions. We're talking about comparing things that are similar, okay, but not exactly the same and in different sizes. And the one thing, little quick skill you're going to want to be able to do in your calculator, for example, is just simplify fractions. So in your red calculator that you use, if you were to have a fraction of, say, 5 over 10, or if this were a ratio of 5 to 10, you could also write this 5 to 10, or you could write it as a fraction. Three ways that you can write ratios. But to reduce it, we always want to make it in simplest form as a fraction. You just put this in your calculator as 5 over 10, 5 ABC 10, and then the calculator is going to tell you you're going to get 1/2. Okay, so just to make sure that you guys understand how to simplify fractions in the calculator, that's all you got to do is you put in the fraction using the ABC key, so you'd hit 5, ABC, 10, hit equals, and that's what you get. Okay, so let's take a look at our notes. And again, we've got a definition here. Comparison of a number A and a non-zero number B using division. So like we're comparing 60 centimeters to 20 centimeters. So if you want to know what that simplifies to, we're going to say, okay, 60 over 200. You could put that in your calculator to simplify it, or triple M moment, mental math moment. If you got zeros top and the bottom, take one off on each end. Now you got 6 over 20. And what goes into both 6 and 20? If you're thinking 2, you're right. So 6 divided by 2 is 3, and 20 divided by 2 is 10. And that's how that fraction is simplified in the first part. Okay? So like I said, if you have zeros top and bottom, you can take as many off as there are in common. Okay? Just makes it a little bit nicer to work with smaller numbers. In B, we have 3 over 18. 3 goes into himself once, and 3 goes into 18 6 times. Again, you could use your calculator if you struggle with your fractions a little bit. I know some of us do. I do a little bit too at times. That's okay. But that's just how you simplify fractions. You're reducing a fraction, putting it in its smallest form. You may have heard it called over the years. Okay. Now, we've got a diagram in example B. All right, we're talking about segment A, C, and then point B here at this point right here. And then it tells us that the ratio, it's AB to BC, so this part's being compared to this part, and it's a 4-to-1 ratio. Okay, so we're talking 4 to 1, and the whole thing is 30 units long. We want to figure out how long each part is, how long this part is and how long that part is. So to set up an equation, since this is 1, I'm going to call this x, and this would be 4x. Now together, if you add those two, it equals 30. So off to the side here, let's rewrite our equation. 4x plus 1x equals 30. Combine your like terms. That gives you 5x equals 30. Divide by 5. And x equals 6. Now are we finished? Just in case some of you are worried about how neat I'm being, let's make it a little bit nicer. 6 there. There we go. No, because the directions ask us to find the length of AB and BC. So all you got to do is plug it back in here and here. Okay. AB was 4 times x, so 4 times 6 is 24, so AB is 24, and BC is x, so that's just going to be 6. So AB equals 24, BC equals 6. Okay, so again, all right, you just want to set up an equation And think about it, you're adding these two parts together to get the 30. We don't know what either one is, but it's a 4-to-1 ratio. So I just assigned this to x, gave this one 4x, since he was 4 times as big as this one. Okay? We could go to the side here and do another one like that. Okay, so here's another example. If we said that, I've got ABC, a segment here again. If I said the ratio is 3-to-2, all right, and we want to know what each part is, AB and BC, how long each one is, the whole thing equals 50. So all we got to do is say, okay, well, this would be 2x, this would be 3x. So we're going to add them together, 2x plus 3x, because you just got to add the two ends together to get 50, right? Combine your like terms. You're going to have 5x equals 50. Divide by 5 again. X will equal 10. So, AB was 3x, so 3 times 10, that means he is 30. 2 times 10, this guy was 20. So AB, again, was 30, and BC was 20. Okay, hopefully the extra example helps you out a little bit. Okay, we'll practice more of those two in class. So look at example 3. It says the perimeter of a rectangle is 80 feet. Before I go any further, I'm going to draw a rectangle, as you should as well. Now perimeter, P, is 80 feet. Okay. It says the ratio of length to width is 7-to-3. So length to width, so is 7-to-3. So I'd say it's a 7-to-3 ratio, which basically means that I would call the width 3x and the length 7x. Now they want us to figure out the length and width. Now perimeter means adding up all the sides, right? It's a distance around the object, so it means this part is really 7x and this part's really 3x, right? Together all four added up equal 80. So off to the side here, let's make an equation. You got the length plus the width plus the other length plus the other width equals 80. These are all like terms. So just combine what makes it easy. 7 and 3 is 10. 7 and 3 is another 10. 10 and 10 is 20. X equals 80. Divide by 20. X equals 4. So now we go back over here. This would be 7 times 4. So the length is 28 feet. And make sure you label, since they gave us a unit of measure over here, feet, you make sure you put it in your answer as well, please. And then 3 times 4, so the width is 12 feet. So 12 feet and 28 feet. Okay, remember, perimeter is just a distance around an object. And again, I just assigned a letter with the ratio number. They told me it was a 7-to-3. The length was 7x because it came first. How did I know it came first? Because in the directions it said length to width. So I labeled it as length, the 7x, since it came first here, to width. The 3 was second. I put in with the width. Last example, we're going to solve here, a little algebra. You get the cross multiply here. As long as they're set equal to each other, as long as there's an equal sign in the middle, we are going to cross multiply. Me, I always like to kind of start with, let's zoom in. I like to start with wherever the letter is first. So we're going to say 3 times this set of y plus 2. We've got to use the parentheses because the 3 is getting multiplied by both. Equals, and then we're going to go 5 times 6, which is 30. Now distribute. 3 times y is 3y. 3 times positive 2 gives me a positive 6. Equals 30. Subtract 6. Now we're just doing a two-step equation like you've done 1,000 times before. So 3y equals 24. Divide by 3. And y equals 8. Okay? So I started with cross multiplying, and I always like to start with the letter first. That way he's on the left-hand side of the equation. And since there was a group up here, that's why I used the grouping symbols, okay, and distributed that 3. Then we took 5 times 6 to get 30, and we solved. We subtracted 6, divided by 3, y equaled 8. B is very similar, okay. Again, I'm going to start with the letters, so 2 times y minus 2. So I'm going to say, okay, 2 times, or not y, but w minus 2 equals 7 times 8, which is 56. Distribute. 2 times w, 2w. 2 times negative 2 is a negative 4. Pay attention to your signs. Equals 56. Adding 4. That zeroes out. 2w equals 60. Divide by 2. W equals 30. Okay? So there you have it. You've solved that proportion. Those two are pretty much both the same. Okay? So just remember, ratios, we're dealing with comparing like the length and the width. They're two things that are similar, but they're not the same size. So they're going to be written with a colon like this, like 3 to 4. Where proportions are written as fractions and they're set equal to each other, like that. Okay, and we just had to do a little bit of algebra, a little bit of math involved here. Again, remember we simplified the fractions up here in the first part. In example 2, we just created a little equation here and here to figure out the lengths of the segments. All right, we just added them together. Kind of similar thing then on the rectangle here. All right, just finding the way around. Okay, that's 7.1. Hope you enjoyed. Have a good day.